So yeah, man. So I want to just get in the backstory, man, of your backstory of how you were raised, man. What kind of environment were you raised in?
At first, when I was a baby, when I couldn't remember, my father was a boxer. We had a pretty good life in those very, very early years. But then um, I was about 6 or 7. My father, he got really, really wrapped up in drugs and crime and started doing burglaries and getting high all the time. And he ended up going to prison when I was young. And he was in there for a few years the first time. And then he got out, but then he went right back. And so I grew up in my young formative years without my father. He was in prison, and I didn't really have him around like that. It was just my mom at first, by herself, trying to raise me, my brother, my sister, try to help us to understand how to do things the right way on her own. And she couldn't cover all the bases by herself, man. We struggled a lot of times without food and just going without a lot of things, man, and that pushed us in a lot of different directions at a young age.
But what kind of effect does that have on a young black male growing up without a father?
Identity crisis, man. It's like I didn't even really know who I was. I was looking for examples outside of my home because I didn't have a male example in the home to look to. And so that started with in school, and you want older people because they already lived that life. You don't want to look at other kids your age. So I'm looking at older people and I'm looking at different people. I didn't have a lot of black male teachers. So it wasn't like I could look at a teacher and say, okay, he's a good example. Or, so the only older people that I really seen were the dudes on the corner.
Right.
It pushes you to look for a male role model, somebody that can show you what masculinity looks like. You feel alone, even though you got a mom. It's like she can nurture you and love you, but you crave that male leader, that masculinity to be ingrained into you from some source. We need it. And so I felt lost when my dad was gone, man. I felt like I was lost and scrambling for answers on what it meant to even be a little boy, how I should act, how I should conduct myself in the classroom, how to be, confident as the fact that everybody might not look like me, and that's just a reality where we live. Like being black in America, like you're gonna be around a lot of people that aren't considered minorities, and so we're looking for that, and the only ones that I seen, it was always somebody that has a gang member relative or drug dealers or people like that, and I felt like it was the normal thing because I didn't have my dad there to tell me it wasn't, and so it was messed up. And then so when my dad finally came back around after getting out the first time, I was really, really abused. I was abused physically real bad, like beat with everything you could think of, man, until I was taken into the foster care system because of a time when I was so scarred up I couldn't hide it. And so in that, I just learned violence. I thought that was the answer for all my problems. So in like I was in third grade, I went to a foster home. They took my brother and sister too, and then they got sent back home because they weren't the primary victim in this situation. And then my mom had to go to court to get me back. And then my dad went back to prison. So it's really hard on you, man, because one of the things my children thought when I went to prison was that I wanted, like I left. And so I remember thinking, like, did my dad not want to be here with me? Did he, and it makes you feel almost rejected. So now you start looking for acceptance from other males, somebody to accept you, to receive you, because your dad it's almost like you feel abandoned because you don't understand prison and all those things yet. I didn't get it. So I was looking for somebody older, black male, to accept me, to receive me, to teach me something, It's a dilemma for a young child whose mind is not developed yet, man. And I think a lot of our young people experience that same kind of thing. Because in their developmental years, they're not getting the guidance and the love and acceptance from their fathers, and they go and seek it from somewhere else.
The fatherless child, a fatherless child, man, is at a higher rate of going to prison. The fatherless child is in a higher rate of joining the gangs. A fatherless child is at a higher rate of being addicted to drugs, man. This is just facts. You know what I mean? This is just statistics, man. So I just encourage all my brothers out there, man, to do whatever you can to get in your child's life, man. You know, do whatever you can to start breaking this generational curse of not being there, identity crisis, and start pouring into your to your sons and your daughters, man, any way you can. And I know sometimes it's certain situations, but you know, just try your best, man. If you can be in your children's life, do, man, get in your children's life, man, because their lives are literally at stake. Let me ask you, how old were you when you joined the gang?
The beginning of it all,
yeah.
There was in 1989 in '88 we moved there, but in 1989 I was in the 5th grade. We were surrounded by a whole lot of people. We lived in an area by Unthank Park on Haight and Beach Street is where our house was, right off of Haight and Beach. And so it was like a serious, like a gang infested community, a lot of hustlers, a lot of drug dealers, a lot of people like that. And this is when I first began to fall in love with that kind of thing. Like, you know, I would hear gunshots, I would see people out there with nice cars at 15, 16 years old because they were out there selling drugs, you know? And so I began to idolize that. And in that, they send you to the store. They were sending me to the store, and me and my little brother, and saying, you know, get you some change, get you some candy, whatever. And to us, that was a big deal. You know, with our dad in prison, it's like that swayed us. You almost look at them like father figures, big brothers, you know? And that turned into hanging out with them, to being around them, looking up to them, being an unofficial little homie, you know? And then after you hang out for a while, like I hang out for a while and being around them for a while, then there was just a night where they were talking to me, and one of the older homies was in prison with my dad, and he was like his cellie for a while. And it was like they know me, you know. They say, "You've been hanging out, you acting like you want to be from the hood or something." And I just was like, whatever. I said whatever. And the next thing I knew, somebody was hitting me in my face, and I was getting punched, and you know, I started to fight back, and then I was from there, you know, and it almost felt like joining a sports team. It was a weird feeling, man. It's like you feel happy to be a part of something, you know, to be like you got a brotherhood or something. It's a big deception, man. Where people that don't feel like they belong or they don't feel accepted, you get put into something like that, and you feel like, now I got a family now, I got people with me now, and you want to hang out every day. And it went from me hanging out every day, being around these dudes and acting like brothers with these dudes, and saying, okay, now let's go over here, let's put in some work, let's shoot, let's sell dope to other people's mothers. And it just, you know, it was gradual. It wasn't like the first day somebody told me, let's go murder somebody, you know? It's like we your comrades, we your friends, your brothers. And young, you so impressionable, you buy into it. And I bought into it. I bought into the whole thing like this was my family. And I even told that to my mother. I said, that's my family out there. And she was crying. She actually cried, because she was like, we your family in here. This is your family. And I wasn't meaning it to say that she wasn't my family or my brother or other people weren't, but I was deceived into believing that was really a family atmosphere I stepped into. And after seeing loyalty, like They put a gun in my hand and said, man, this is your gun, like it was my own personal gun I didn't have to pay for. You know, they put a gun in a young dude's hand, like. And so I started being drawn more to, you know, I didn't really want to make a lot of money like that. I mean, I would sell drugs, but I was really drawn to the other side of it because I had seen like dudes we consider riders, we call them riders, people that go out there and put in work with a pistol, you know. I had seen them check drug dealing gang members. I had seen them, you know, people with the money act afraid of the dude that was known to shoot. Because they knew that this person would do certain things. And so I wanted to be that. I wanted to be that that little skinny dude in the corner that everybody looked at with fear. Like, this dude will pop you. This dude he'll shoot. Don't run your mouth. Don't disrespect him. I wanted to become that. I idolized brothers like that. Even though I've seen some of them get murdered, I still thought it was something to look up to. You know, when I was in like 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade, like in my middle school years, there were a couple of people that got killed over in that area and it didn't make me afraid. It actually made me idolize it more. And I used to tell myself that one day I'm gonna get older and people are gonna be saying rest in peace to me. You know, they're gonna be wearing t-shirts with my name on it. They're gonna be going to my grave and talking about memories with me. And I said it almost like it was a goal. Like, one day I'm just gonna get popped and be dead in the street.